not do anything strange. We would like to put a gift into it, just a packet, a welcome packet. Very good. We have a couple of people here. Just keep your hand raised. And also, we're doing something different. In that packet, there's a little blue card that would ask you to fill out some information. And if you do that, we have these glorious goddesses who are giving you these welcome packets. And if you fill out this card, you will get a free book. It's called How to Speak Science of Mind. It's a really neat little book. And after the service, these glorious goddesses will be at the front of the room, and they will give you this book if you fill out this card. So that's a very nice gift for you as well. So, and what you may not know, those of you who are visiting, is that we also have these people sitting at the table here. These people are called practitioners. These are beautiful people who are dedicated to prayer and meditation, and they're called practitioners because they practice seeing the presence of God in everything and everyone, regardless of what's going on and regardless of the behavior of the person in front of them. And we're going to be talking a little bit about that today. And they are here to hold us in love and in meditation, and they're here to offer prayer for anyone who wants it after the service as well. We have many practitioners, but these three are sitting there very particularly to just hold us in consciousness. Okay? So, welcome to the Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living, where our vision is awakening. There we go. I'm not used to this, so I'm doing my best. Awakening personal transformation, and our mission is teaching tools for positive change, so that we take spiritual principles that allow you to live a better life, and we give you the tools to put feet on the ground and really make that work for you. And we are part of a national movement, the Centers for Spiritual Living, where we have a global vision of a world that works for everyone. So this is not something that just lives up in the air, but it's really trying to make a world that truly does work for each person. And it's real, it's tangible, and we are part of hundreds and hundreds of centers and communities around the country and around the world that are focusing on common themes. Our theme this month is wholeness. And we have a topic for today that says, we see our communities, CSL communities, as empowered with the realization of unity and wholeness, from which flows the ultimate healing power of forgiveness and love. The ultimate healing power of forgiveness and love. Now, Reverend Karyl began this month of the theme of wholeness by talking about the nature of wholeness. She said it has three key elements. It lacks nothing, it includes everything, and it is indivisible. Indivisible. And that word indivisible really got me to thinking. It rang a bell in my mind, and it got me to thinking about something that we all, well, maybe I shouldn't say we all, but definitely I had to do in school as a very young child. Every morning when I went to school, the first thing I had to do with my little classmates was to say the Pledge of Allegiance. And I couldn't even remember it. God, so I had to look it up. I felt really bad about that. But I'm going to say it now, and I'm putting it up on the PowerPoint. And so anyone who feels so inclined can say this with me. But it made sense at the time, and I thought it was very appropriate. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Brought back memories. Memories. And I am really struck by the synchronicity and the irony, perhaps, of the hundreds of our communities talking about wholeness and oneness at a time when our country seems anything but indivisible. In the realm of human appearances right now, the United States is very much divided. Last week, if you were here, Reverend Karyl's talk was all about whether or not we want to buy into the illusion of human appearances, or if not, how we can pierce that illusion and create the heaven habit by remembering and practicing what we believe. So I'm going to point out this very beautiful and interesting altar that Mark and Galen Cooper created. Because I was talking to them and I said, we need to demonstrate that you can either look at the world and see the surface or see through to the truth. I think they did a beautiful job. Thank you. You can look at a mirror and see it reflected back, or you can look at the surface of that globe, or you can see through it. Transparency or the opaqueness into the beauty. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Seeing through what seems to be into the truth. So we're talking about practicing and living what we teach at a time when it's perhaps a bit challenging to do so. Taking those principles and those teaching tools and making them live in each of us. So we in religious science, and in many other faith traditions, we are not unique, teach that there is only one life, one consciousness, one love, one God, regardless of name or country of origin, one. We teach that that one God is whole, and we talked about the nature of wholeness. We teach that everyone is created by and sourced from that one, and that we share in that one's nature, so therefore we are whole. And that because we share in that divine origin, underlying our human uniqueness, our personal diversity, our idiosyncratic differences, no matter how irritating they may be, we have a spiritual unity that transcends those differences. So we have spiritual unity. We have union. And as I was sitting in contemplation about this talk, my mission, given to me by Reverend Karyl, was to come up with a talk title that we could put into the website and on the program, even before I knew what I was going to really talk about. And I kept flipping this idea of being divided and separation and what we as metaphysicians and religious scientists know, and that there is no such thing as being divided. Division, separation, and union. Division, separation, and union. And that's when I began thinking about division. And I remembered again, going back to early days, about how division was a good tool. Remember arithmetic? Addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. And that's when I thought, well, division is only math. And so I thought, well, that's the title. And last week, Reverend Karyl gave us a really nifty little tool. And the tool was, what so? So what? What now? So I thought maybe this week a good tool is, division is only math. Because in our Science of Mind textbook by our founder, Ernest Holmes, it's pretty hefty. It's kind of like our Bible. He says, the universe is not divided against itself. While the current state of affairs in the world, and in our country in particular, may be a fact of division that is currently and temporarily being experienced, the eternal truth of life is that the universe cannot be divided against itself. We, not just we in this room, but the we-ness everywhere, whether you be of any political party, of any race or any creed or any belief whatsoever, are one with all of that life, and in our spiritual unity at our deepest source, we remain one with each other despite our differences. We remain one with each other despite our differences. Okay? So that's the good news. And here's the kicker. We also teach that what we look at consistently and persistently becomes our human reality. I'll say that again. What we look at persistently and consistently becomes our human reality. So, if we keep our attention on the appearances of what is going on around us now, it would be easy to believe that being divided is the reality and being one is the illusion. We could turn that world right upside down and create an upside down universe. We turn that globe right on its head. But I would like to point out or say or suggest to you just to think about this, that is fear speaking. That comes from the smaller part of who we are. Fear. And now I'd like to share with you something that Hafez, my very favorite poet, says about fear. Fear is the cheapest room in the house. I would like to see you living in better conditions. For your mother and my mother were friends. I know the innkeeper in this part of the universe. Get some rest tonight. Come to my verse again tomorrow. We'll go speak to the friend together. I should not make any promises right now, but I know if you pray, somewhere in this world, something good will happen. If we pray, something good will happen. What I know is that something good is happening right now, all around us. Because people like you and I are already standing on higher ground. Things like the safety pin movement. Have you heard about that, or are you participating in that? I just went to go buy a book, and I couldn't get out of the bookstore without this woman handing me another safety pin. We're doing this to let people of minorities, Muslims, anyone who might feel threatened in this time when things seem to be so divided. There are people here who say, you can be safe with me. I will stand up for you. It's all over the place. You can go on any website, any Facebook, you see hundreds and thousands of instances where people are saying, I will not be silent. There is more than one voice, and there is much goodness happening here. I think Mother Teresa said it well. There are good people in the world. If you can't find one, be one. Our movement sees our communities empowered with the realization of unity and wholeness, from which flows the ultimate healing power of forgiveness and love. And so we are being called to use those healing powers of forgiveness and love to create unity and oneness in the midst of everything that looks contrary to that. can I love someone who spews messages of hate? You might ask. And it's a good question. And it's a hard spiritual practice. Not many people do it all the time. Maybe the Dalai Lama. Maybe Saint Mother Teresa did it. Maybe Thich Nhat Hanh. But it's what we are called to do, God help us all. And Ernest Holmes wrote, and here's something that we can take to heart. We can have no understanding of divine compassion unless we ourselves first exercise compassion. The very judgment by which we judge others becomes a self-judgment. Ouch. Ouch. For me, it helps to remember that each of us comes into this world perfect, shining, and unconditionally loving. Have you ever seen a baby that hates? No. But along the way, bad things happen that cause suffering and anger and hurt. And as we know, hurt people hurt people. People who act out are filled with pain. They have lost their sense of oneness with God. They have lost their connection to the light, which is kind of all the more reason to feel compassion for them. It must hurt deep in the heart to have lost your way and to not feel the love that abides always and upon which people can trust is always there. So let we who are without sin cast the first stone. Somebody said that. In the Native American tradition, one member of the tribe assumes the role of faith keeper. I love this. This person's role is to remain at peace, centered in spiritual vision, no matter what events befall the tribe, even if everyone else in the tribe slips into pain, fear, or dissension. The faith keeper is the one person in the tribe that the tribe can rely on as a lifeline. Perhaps in religious science, we can be the faith keeper now. We can be the people who see the presence of God everywhere, in everyone and everything. Where there is chaos, we can see peace. Where there is pain, we can be the healers. And where there is fear, we can be love. That's the charge. The healing power of forgiveness and love. I haven't talked about forgiveness yet. So maybe we can be compassionate. Maybe we can love. But how do I forgive some of the things that are going on, you might ask? You guys ask really good questions. Okay, I'll ask you one. Did you know that forgiveness is the highest form of self-love? Oh, lots of head nodding. Okay, great. I'm going to do a quick little experiment with you. I'd ask you to take just a moment and think about something or someone that either now or in the past you might not have been able to forgive for a long time. So close your eyes and really let your imagination put you back in that place where the anger and the pain and the hurt and the resentment were really present in your body and in your heart. And let yourself feel it. And you just couldn't let go. You couldn't forgive in that moment. Okay, come back. Because you don't want to stay there. How did it feel? Icky, yeah? You know, because that state of unforgiveness is like rats chewing at you inside, isn't it? It's poisonous. It feels like there's this sharp thorn inside of you. And that is why unforgiveness doesn't ever hurt the person you're angry with, that you can't forgive. They're going about their lives oblivious and happy. And here you are tearing yourself up. The Mayo Clinic listed some really interesting things about what forgiveness can do for you. It gives you greater spiritual and psychological well-being, less anxiety, less stress, less hostility. It lowers your blood pressure. You have fewer symptoms of depression. You have a stronger immune system. It has improved heart health, not to mention higher self-esteem. So forgiveness really is the highest form of self-love. So why do we often resist it? Because we have this wrong idea about it sometimes. We think it means condoning somebody's behavior. If I forgive you, it means I'm telling you it's okay. Wrong. It does not mean condoning a person's behavior. But it does mean that you are freeing yourself from that behavior. And you're saying, I refuse to be subjected to that. It means creating a boundary around yourself, but letting yourself free from that, okay? It creates a boundary between yourself and that person, and you let that person go. You're choosing how and if that person continues to play a role in your life, but there's no longer that catch in you. You pull the thorn out of your heart, and you go about living your life. There's nothing about condoning the behavior. It's not martyrdom. I forgive you, therefore you can do it to me again. You never let yourself become a mat for people to step on. And forgiveness may take many times before that thorn gets fully removed. It's a process, it's not an event. I have myself spent many years trying to forgive something that happened to me before I could actually think about someone and the stopped happening. So then you forgive yourself so that you can feel whole again. But remember, you forgive the behavior. You reject the behavior, you forgive the person. They are a child of God, but you reject the behavior that's happening. And that's what we're talking about. Bad things happen. No one ever said we have to put up with what's going on. But it's about what's happening in your heart. Can you seek justice without judgment? And this is what we're talking about, the healing power of forgiveness and love. Love and forgiveness unify, which is wholeness, which is the nature of the universe, which is oneness. Hatred and unforgiveness divide and separate. Can we act in the world to provide justice and healing and good things and not throw that poor baby out with the bathwater? Because underneath every action is an individual. We have to see through the behavior, through the appearance, and go to the essence. We take a stand, we act in integrity, but we never act from hatred. We act from love. We act in justice. We never act from judgment. Do you see the difference? When you turn within and you feel it, how does your heart feel? Do you feel tight and closed, or do you feel open and expansive? That's how you kind of check yourself. So, hatred and forgiveness equal divide and separate. But remember, division is only math. It's not real. When we perpetrate hatred and we choose to hold ourselves in anger, we close our eyes to the truth of who we really are. And we deny our sisters and our brothers just as surely as Peter denied his master 3 times that fateful night. And at some deep level, our hearts cry out, and we suffer for it because we are one. I cannot deny you without denying myself. The universe cannot be divided against itself. Which brings us back to where we began. The indivisibility of life and how we choose to create our heaven on earth. Why not? Do we choose to live as we believe? This is our challenge and our great power. This is our liberation and our joy. Ending with something from our founder, Ernest Holmes, called The Perfect Universe. We must seek to realize the spiritual universe, regardless of any condition which appears, if we would embody the greatest good. If the spiritual universe were not perfect, it could not exist for a single moment. The truth is indivisible and whole. God is complete and perfect. Disregarding all evidence to the contrary, students of truth will maintain that they live in a perfect universe and among people potentially perfect. They will regulate their thinking to meet this necessity and will refuse to believe in its opposite. At first, they may be influenced by conditions and may appear to be weak. But as time goes on, they will prove to themselves that their position is a correct one. For that which appears imperfect will begin to slip from their experience. To daily meditate on the perfect life and to daily embody the great ideal is a royal road to freedom, to that peace which passeth understanding, and is a happiness to the soul. Let us learn to see as God must, with a perfect vision. Let us seek the good and the true, and believe in them with our whole heart, even though every person we meet is filled with suffering and limitation appears at all sides. That is our charge, and I believe we can do it. So our spiritual principles for the day. Oneness is the nature of all. And love heals and unifies. And our spiritual practice, see past the behavior to the presence. And our inner work. May I ask the practitioners and the ministers to stand and please surround the congregation as we pray together. What I accept and know in this moment is that the presence is fully expressing itself through each and every person, and that there is nothing that is happening that cannot be turned to the good. I release my judgment. I release any need to condemn, and instead, I give full rein to my heart to love, to forgive, to heal, and to unify. I give thanks for knowing that there are tools to do this. There is willingness and capacity to do this. And that the world is ready and willing and able to embrace something higher, something better. I call upon the blessing, the innate, inherent divinity and goodness in each of us to rise, to stand, to be, to act in this world as an agent of that one. I know that today there was one thing, at least one thing, some nugget of goodness, some idea, some spark that landed, took root, and grows into a powerful force that we take out into the world now and we give to others to make this world a better place. And in gratitude, I know it is so, and so it is. Amen.